For decades, Bashar al Assad ruled Syria through fear, repression, and bloodshed. Then his regime collapsed, and he disappeared beyond the reach of the court. Now, a Syrian judge has delivered the ultimate sentence. Assad has been condemned to death in absentia. But the man once at the center of Syria's darkest years remains beyond the court's grasp. A Syrian court has sentenced ousted President Bashar al Assad to death in absentia, delivering the first conviction against him since his family's 5-decade rule collapsed. The verdict, handed down in Damascus on August 11, found Assad guilty of premeditated murder, torture, and crimes against humanity committed during nearly 14 years of civil war, a conflict that killed roughly 500,000 people.
In the name of the Arab people of Syria, the court unanimously decides as follows. First, to convict the fugitive defendant, Bashar al Assad, son of Hafez, his mother Anisa, born in 1965, of the felony of premeditated murder, the felony of intentional killing of more than one person, the intentional killing of children under the age of 15, intentional killing accompanied by acts of torture and brutality, the felony of incitement to premeditated and intentional murder on multiple occasions, characterized as crimes against humanity and war crimes, the felony of torture and torture resulting in death, and the felony of deprivation of liberty on multiple occasions, characterized as crimes against humanity and war crimes.
Assad fled to Moscow in December 2024 as rebel forces swept through Syria in an offensive that lasted less than a fortnight, ending decades of dynastic control. His brother Maher, who commanded the army's 4th Division, received the same sentence in absentia. Prosecutors accused him of directing crackdowns on protesters and profiting from the wartime drug trade. Atef Najib, Assad's cousin and the former security chief in Deraa, was also sentenced to death. Unlike the Assad brothers, Najib stood trial in person, appearing in court dressed in prison uniform. His arrest and torture of teenage boys accused of anti-government graffiti in 2011 is widely regarded as the spark that ignited the uprising.
Convicting the defendant, Atef Najib, son of Najib, of the felony of committing an act intended to incite civil war and sectarian fighting, punishable under Article 298 of the General Penal Code.
Crowds gathered outside the courthouse in Damascus as the sentences were read, chanting and waving Syrian flags. In Deraa, residents held up photographs of relatives killed or detained during the war, among them Hamza al-Khatib, a 13-year-old whose death in custody became a symbol of the revolt's early brutality. Not everyone views the outcome as a step toward accountability. Anwar al-Bunni, who heads the Syrian Center for Legal Studies and Research, warned the sentence could make it harder to ever bring Assad home. According to multiple reports, Assad remains in Russia, where he and his family were granted asylum. Moscow has previously rejected calls to extradite him, and legal observers say a death sentence makes any handover even less likely. The trial forms part of a wider push by Syria's interim authorities to prosecute former regime officials, though the process has unfolded against a backdrop of continued sectarian violence, including mass killings of Alawite civilians in 2025. Assad, who trained as an ophthalmologist before inheriting power from his father in 2000, also faces an outstanding arrest warrant in France over a 2012 bombing in Homs.